Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do something a little different in honor of the new set that we have coming out. As you guys probably already know, the new set is called Bloomburrow. And this is going to be a video where we take a look at the top 10 cards of the masterpieces that we have for this new set. And I'm going to put this as part of a series where we start looking at the top 10 cards of each rarity. So in the next few videos that are going to come out, you'll see what I think are the top 10 for the masterpieces and the mythics, and then the rares that are coming out. And then for the last video, I'm going to put the two bottom rarities, the commons and uncommons, both of them together in one video. And that's going to complete the set here for us. But anyway, hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. And as we get going, I just want to remind everybody that these things are coming out in no particular order. And yeah, let's get to it, guys. Alright, so here is what I think is one of the top 10 masterpieces in this new set. It's called Rolling Hamsphere. It's an artifact vehicle, crew 5. At the beginning of the combat on your turn, create 3 hamster tokens. When your first creature attacks, your first creature gets +X and gains trample until the beginning of your next turn. Then deal X damage to your opponent's planeswalker. X is the number of hamster cards that you control, including their reinforcements. So I think this is one of the ones that I like. Actually, I kind of like this one a lot. And the reason I like this one so much is it goes well with Saheeli Rai. Saheeli Rai is good with vehicles, as you can see this here vehicle. And what you'll do is you'll place the hamsters on the board for you at the beginning of combat on your turn. And then it's going to help you to deal a ton of damage, you see here. So nice card. Okay, here's the next one, Chaos Warp. Spell card, it's going to cost you 16. Pick up to one of the first 4 cards from your opponent's library, fetch that card. Then if that card is a support, destroy all opposing support cards. Otherwise, destroy all opposing creature cards. Obviously, I like this one because you got to destroy all creature cards. Hopefully, you're going to be able to play that. I think right now there's a little bit of a bug with this one, but it's not a huge one. They're going to be fixing it quite soon. And really the bug, it's actually a bug that kind of helps you, right? It pulls cards from your library instead of your opponent's library. But when this one gets fixed, it's still going to be an excellent card. You know, red is an interesting one because you want to get a lot of good removal from red that's not damage based, right? Because the red, you got a lot of deal 3 damage, deal 5 damage, deal X damage to an opposing creature. And sometimes that's not good against, obviously, creatures that have prevent damage, or maybe these really big creatures. So something like this is definitely going to help. Because it's red, it's going to be able to destroy it without doing damage. And yeah, that's excellent. Okay, here's the next one, Swarmyard Massacre. Create X Squirrel tokens. X is equal to the amount of black gems on the board. Then opposing creatures without the insect, rat, squirrel, or spider type get -Y/-Y. Y is the number of creatures you control with the insect, rat, squirrel, or spider subtypes, including their reinforcements. So obviously you'd want to use this in a deck with a ton of squirrels or rats, right? Because you can see here that there's going to be a nice little debuff, if you will, the -Y/-Y to the opposing creatures, right? So you're gonna want to have a ton of these insect, rat, squirrel, spiders. And obviously you can see here that that's going to help you to kind of control the battlefield. And you get nice squirrels. For those of us that don't know, this is what the squirrel is. Nothing huge, green 1/1, right? But the power of this one here is definitely this part down here. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. Tempt with bunnies. I think some of us have seen this card before. If you guys have been paying attention to the spoilers and to some of these cards that are coming out now, yeah, you'll probably have seen this one, Tempt with bunnies. It's a spell card. It says gift. Your opponent gains 5 loyalty, gain 10 life, draw 2 cards, create a rabbit token. Then your rabbit creatures get +X/+X and gain haste until the end of turn. X is the amount of life you gain this turn. If you promise a gift, repeat this process. Okay, so for those of us that are not familiar with gift, it's basically you have the ability to say yes or no to this gift, right? So you can give the gift or you can choose to not give the gift. And if you choose to give the gift, your opponent will gain 5 loyalty and that's it. That's cool. That may be good or may be bad. But here's the part. If you say yes, you get to promise a gift, right? So you get to do this part here. Now for this one, I really like it because yes, your opponent is going to get the 5 loyalty. I recommend doing the loyalty gift here. You're going to gain 10 life. You're going to gain 2 cards. You're going to get a rabbit. You can see the rabbit here. Again, nothing incredible, right? Just kind of a nice token. But then you're going to get a nice buff here. And then you get to do it again, as you see here, if you've done the gift, like I said. And I think this is going to be a really good one. I kind of see myself using this one with maybe Huatli 1. Huatli 1's got a nice first ability that will gain you a ton of life. Kind of one of those that says based on the amount of, you know, the power of this one creature or the power of the creatures, you can gain life that way. So that's going to be really cool. Huatli 1's a nice one with this. All right. Let's take a look at the next one. 20-toed toad. I like that. It's kind of a cool way to make like an alliteration, a play on words here. It's a frog wizard for 2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 2 or more creature cards, increase this card's level by 1. Then this creature gets +3/+3. When this creature attacks, if this card's level is 6 or more, return each opposing creature to the top of its owner's library. So I do like this one. What you can find here is there's going to be a buff that comes in, so there's some good offense. But also, if the level is 6 or more, you're going to return your opponent's creatures from the battlefield onto the top of their library. So it's going to give you that defense as well. And anytime you got a card that's got really strong defense and really strong offense, all in the same card, that's going to be a really, really good card here. And, you know, you can see that here. And I do like this. It says at the beginning of the combat on your turn, if you control 2 or more creature cards and you get to increase the level by 1, you know, that's not asking a lot. If you're playing a few decks that have maybe 1 creature or 2 creatures, then maybe that's going to be a little harder. But I'd say for the majority of the decks that I play, I'll use 3 or sometimes even more. So, cool. Okay, here's the 6/1 Chatterfang Squirrel General. I like this creature here. He's got kind of a pink sword over there and got some spikes it looks like, or armor on the tail. Really, really interesting things going on with the art here. But anyway, it says here when a squirrel card is destroyed or loses a reinforcement, all opposing creatures get -3/-3. At the beginning of the combat on your turn, create a squirrel token. At the end of your turn, create X squirrel tokens. X is the number of creature tokens that were created this turn +1. Okay, so this one has the ability to be like a token factory by itself. What you're going to want to do, obviously, is make a lot of tokens in any deck that uses this card here. And what's going to happen is you're going to be able to make even more, right? Because you got this create X squirrel tokens at the beginning of combat, or I mean, at the end of your turn. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be one that's definitely usable. I'd use this, like I said, with decks that just load tons and tons of token creatures. So this will be able to help even more. And kind of this one up here, this -3/-3 for the opponent's creatures. That's going to be a nice one too. Again, there's some good offense and defense here. What I would do is use this with the Knowledge is Power kind of card. That one will buff your creatures through reinforcements and then drop them back down through losing reinforcements. And that's kind of nice. So you'll be able to clear your opponent's board here. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Rapid Augmenter. This is an Otter Artificer. When another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has power 2 or less, that creature gains +3/+1 and gains haste. Otherwise, this creature gets +3/+3. Then this creature gains unblockable until the end of turn. So I like this one. I wish I had this one right now. And the reason is I'm kind of working on some stuff right now that's got a really nasty combo that plays non-token creatures infinitely, right? So if I have a deck that has an infinite supply of non-token creatures, just one after the other, after the other, after the other, that's going to trigger something like this, right? I'm not going to say too much because that's still a work in progress, but when it first comes down, it's going to have a power less than 2, so that creature is going to get +3/+1 and gains haste. That's good because I want to have that one attack on the turn it comes in. Now, as it's playing, and it's like I said, it's going to be an infinite loop where I'm going to be able to play an infinite amount of these non-token creatures. They're going to get bigger and bigger until a certain point, obviously. But then this guy is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, kind of infinitely, as I talked about. So I'm hoping to get that one out to you guys shortly. But yeah, if I had this one, that would be an incredible addition to the deck, kind of like I'm describing. Anyway, stay tuned for that one. Alright, let's get on to the next card. Sword of the Squeak. Here's another interesting one that if you've been paying attention to spoiler season, you've seen this one before. This one is a very interesting card. I like that it's artifact plus equipment, because that means you'll be able to get some bonus off cards that use either the artifact types or, you know, count how many artifact types or whatever that you have. So this is going to be a good one. There's a lot of cards that would just mesh nicely with those two. It says here, at the beginning of your turn, your first creature gets +X until the beginning of your next turn. X is the number of creatures you control with base power or toughness 2 or less, including their reinforcements. When a creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets +2/+1 and gains the Squirrel subtype. You can kind of see there's a theme with these decks or these cards coming out, right? They got a lot of these squirrels, you got a lot of the rats and the insects and those kind of cutesy types for the Bloomburrow, and that's kind of what this this set is kind of symbolic of. You got a lot of those, and some of them will pack a really big punch, and especially if you've got this card here, Sword of the Squeak. This is an interesting one because you got that big buff coming in at the beginning of your turn. You're going to get a buff for your first creature, and then this is, I think, a really nice one because it doesn't have a massive mana cost here, right? So really good. I play this obviously with tokens, with some other decks as well. Cool stuff. Okay, here's the next one. Sylvan Tutor. Spell card, gift. Your opponent gains 15 mana. Pick one of the first 4 creature cards from your library, fetch that card. If you promise to gift, put that card into play under your control. So I do like a lot of fetch cards just because I'm a combo player. And combo players, you really want to have fetch just because it's going to help you to grab the combo from your deck and then play it as quickly as possible. So here's a nice one. I would probably use this one in a lot of decks. It says here gift, right? We talked about gift earlier. What I would say is yes, use the gift. Your opponent's going to gain 15 mana. What I would do, obviously, is try to play this at a time where your opponent either doesn't have cards. Hopefully that's going to work, right? I'm not sure if that's going to work yet. I haven't tested it. But if your opponent doesn't have any cards in their hand, they will not be able to benefit from this 15 mana as much. Or maybe they got a card in their hand that's pretty much already almost paid off, right? So maybe they got like only 2 or 3 mana left. And then you hit this, they're probably going to gain the rest of the mana, like it says here at 15. But really they're gaining 3 or 2 or how many ever they had left instead of the whole 15. I'm wondering if that's going to work here as well. Again, I haven't play tested this one, so I don't know. But I think that's a good strategy to kind of minimize this gift ability here. And really what's interesting, like I said, you're going to be able to fetch and you're going to be able to put that card under your control. And all it's really going to cost you is 9. Your opponent's going to get some mana, but hopefully if you get a good creature, then it's going to be worth it. Alright, so let's take a look at this one here. This is the last one. Perch Protection. Spell card. Gift. Your opponent gains 5 loyalty. Create X bird tokens. X is equal to the amount of loyalty gems on the board. If you promise the gift, creatures you control gain shield counter 2. Then you and your creatures gain protection from your opponent's planeswalker colors until the beginning of your next turn. So this is an interesting one here. The gift obviously is 5 loyalty. Sometimes that's going to be a lot depending on your opponent, right? Some opponents have loyalty costs for their loyalty abilities that are super high, right? So in this case, that's not going to help. But either way, you get these loyalty gems on the board that you'll take a look at, and how many ever of those loyalty gems you have, that's how many birds you're going to create. Birds, as you can imagine, are not huge, but you're going to be able to make a lot of them, hopefully, with a deck that's got something that's focusing on loyalty. That's really cool. What I would say again is make sure you use the gift. If you're using the gift, you're going to get this ability here, promise the gift, and you get the shield counters for every creature that you have. That's really excellent. Shield counters will do a nice job of protecting your creatures, and really, that's going to help you to win games. Okay, so that's it for me. Like and subscribe as usual. Share with all your friends. It really helps the channel. And check out the rest of the videos in this series, guys. Alright, happy collecting. Good gaming, guys.